Hi you guys. Before I start today's video, I just want to warn you, I'm looking like this because I am in the middle of exercising. I took a break because my abs are on fire and my legs are sore, and so I'm in the middle of my workout. But I want to speak to you today about Black and Asian unity. So if you don't know, in America, Asian people from since the start of coronavirus and even up until now have been ostracized, have been attacked ver- with both verbal and physical abuse. And it's not anything that's new to the Asian community. It's just more drastic and more violent than before. And so, as a Black woman in America, while I totally disagree with the attacks in the Asian community, I am a little hesitant about speaking up, and here's the reason why. As a Black woman, when I speak up about the injustice and the discrimination that I face in corporate America, with peers from the white community, from the Asian community, often I am left without job opportunities. Often I'm ostracized. And so, as a Black woman, for me to speak up against the injustice and the racism that Black people, especially Black women, face, I'm put in a position where I am limiting my job opportunities because I'm speaking up against a system that wants to continue to oppress people who look like me, right? And so for me to speak up against the injustice and inequities and inequalities of my people, I'm lost without job opportunities and lost without really a financial way to survive in this world. And so now, with the attacks of the Asian community, I totally believe in Asian and Black unity. I believe in like equality all around. But what I battle with is this. I just want to be honest. What I battle with is this. If I do speak up for the Asian community, which is the right thing to do, and these attacks pass, let's say coronavirus in 2023 is done with, the Asian community is not experiencing the attacks that they have been experiencing, is it going to go back to Asian Americans being the model minority? A lot of people, specifically Asian Americans, think the model minority is a myth. It is not a myth. If you've worked in tech, specifically in Silicon Valley, you will understand it is not a myth. Now, maybe it is not as strongly presented and seen in like healthcare or different fields, but if you work in Silicon Valley and you work in tech, you will see that the model minority is absolutely not a myth. There was I guess you call it like a show on YouTube called Middle Ground. And what I'll do is I'll put a link to this, what I'm referencing, in the description area. It's about a 10-minute video, and I think it'll help you understand exactly what I'm saying. And so what I was saying before is like, once these attacks stop, how is the Asian community going to move forward and unite with the Black community? Because if, as a Black woman, this is the point that I'm making, I'm already risking it all to speak up against the injustice and inequities in the Black community. Now I'm being asked as a Black woman in which society doesn't value me the same way that it values Asian women and white women and even Latin women. So for me as a Black woman to speak up, in addition to the racism in the Black community, for me to speak up about the racism and attacks in the Asian community, that's a double whammy for me. So in a couple of years from now, Asian communities, I ask you, how are you going to unite with the Black community to make sure that, you know, after these attacks, that you just don't go back to being passive, or go back to passive in regards to racism of if people of color. How are we going to really work together? And that's my question. Like, I'm all for doing what's right, and I believe that even if the Asian community doesn't speak up against the injustice of Black people after these attacks, like, I, as a Christian, believe that it's still right for me to speak up against these attacks that's going on in America. But I just, deep down inside in my heart, I just have to be honest. I don't think that, and I could be wrong, but I don't think that the Asian community would be willing to risk it all if the roles were reversed. Meaning, if Asian women were Black women, knowing what Black women have to go through and give up in order to speak about the injustice in our community and then other communities, I question whether or not they would be willing to risk it all, because it's a double whammy, as I said before. And so I just want to be honest, and I want to have these open conversations with Asian Americans, and if you're not American, Asians around the world, about these issues. And maybe by just talking about these things, we'll get to a resolution and a point where we can really be unified. So I want to ask you your opinion about everything that I just said, whether you're a Black woman or an Asian woman, a Black man or an Asian man. But Asian men or women, from the bottom of my heart, I truly believe that everything that's going on in the world, in specifically in America, regarding these attacks, these verbal and physical attacks, racism, discrimination, is wrong. I'm not accepting it. I'm not promoting the wrongness. I'm not being passive about it. And that's just that. It's wrong. I don't ever want to justify wrongness. So anyways, yeah, I'm really interested in knowing what you think about this: Black women, Black men, Asian men, Asian women. And I just really, if it's going to be hard to really put yourself in a Black woman's position if you're not a Black woman, even for Black men, because Black men typically don't understand what Black women go through on a day-to-day basis, especially as a Black woman who have had the opportunity to advance and work in the tech sphere. It's hard to get in tech if you're a person of color, especially if you're not like an engineer. But even if you are a Black woman who's an engineer, it's still very hard, because people put biases on you, and they use it as a way to disqualify you for jobs that you're overly qualified for. And so I speak about this a lot on LinkedIn, and it's one of the reasons why I have lost job opportunities, is because I have spoken about a lot of the a lot of the racism that I've experienced in tech and in Silicon Valley. And so people don't like to be called out for the things that they've done, because then they will be held accountable and have to change. And so yeah, I decided, in 2020 and 2021, that I'm not even going to stand for the injustice and the inequities and the inequalities of my own people, even if it means that I don't have the same life, and job opportunities that I did before. So I'm going to go back to working out. Please comment below, like this video, share it, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're watching this on Instagram, and if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram. My Instagram name is I Am Talking With You. My YouTube channel name is Talking With You. Yeah. Okay. So see you later.